about how to make that happen. We need to be more engaged, okay? We'll get to more of that later. Let's get in now to our third issue, issue number 3. Hamilton has this fantastic week. Sad week, of course, losing Nathan Cirillo. Sad week for the country in terms of the terrorist attack, the attack on Parliament Hill. Really traumatizing for everybody. But Hamilton manages to pull off a flawless, beautiful, meaningful tribute from the waterfalls lighting up to the side of City Hall with Nathan's image to the huge flag. I took a photo on James South. I couldn't believe this giant flag over James North. I could see it all the way up the mountain. I mean, what a week of pride and honor and sacrifice and tears. And then Andrew Dreschel writes a column that goes around the world because of the fact that he says that, you know, Cirillo's not a hero, he's an accidental victim. Wrong place, wrong time. Comments that, you know, if he's good looking, kind of helps with the whole hero thing. Well, the backlash was probably the biggest in Spec's history, don't you think, Loren? Have you seen a bigger backlash to an article in Spec?
No, and I don't think the backlash was pretty much directed at either Dreschel or his bosses for letting this be print. That most of the debate wasn't with any specific thing that was said, in as much as the debate, if you even want to call it debate, the outrage was against the timing.
No, I think it was twofold. I think it was twofold. Part of it was just the mere suggestion that this man that we as Canadians had decided was a hero on all kinds of different metrics was now having that questioned. And the other was the timing. But let's look at what some of the people out there said. These are off of Andrew Dreschel's Twitter account. The first one here, you see Dreschel posted it. Right after he posted it, April said, "A disgusting piece of writing, shame on you and your paper." I mean, that was a fast response and I think characterizes the opposition.
My son, who sparingly reads the paper, wrote a letter to the editor that the Spec was kind enough to print. My son is patriotic, but he is hardly in tune with every article that Dreschel writes or otherwise. And it moved a young guy to do so. We hadn't just, me and Junior hadn't discussed a thing, and he was upset by it. There was a lot of people upset by it.
So today at the hairdresser, the woman who does my hair, we were talking about it, and she's known Nathan since he was 6 years old. And, you know, not only did she spend the week crying because of her personal loss of knowing him, but felt that the article in itself was wrong-minded and hurtful, but the timing of it, there was no excuse for. I mean, she absolutely didn't think that the people grieving got the time to grieve. So I'm getting the sense that there can be a lot of people who are agreeing, you know, if you had to run it, you didn't have to run it then. But let's look at some people who did support Andrew Dreschel. Here's another tweet from his Twitter feed. Andrew, I don't understand the backlash. Your article was well written and does not take away from the tragedy that took place. Comments?
I think that Andrew always has valid points to make. The question is whether or not those points are worth making. And the timing is what negates this for me. And if Mr. Dreschel feels this way about Nathan Cirillo, I wonder if he'd like an open mic eulogy at his funeral. It's just not appropriate. And it's not the first time the Spec has been inappropriate in timing on the death of someone. There is something that is supposed to be sacred to the immediate mourning time that follows it.
You ranted about something like that, I think, a year or two ago,
I sure
right?
did. It's not right.
A high-profile person had a criminal past, and they got it. You know, right after they died, they got the history of their criminality brought up.
And the criminal past was ancient compared to all their good works, and it's just, you don't mess with the dead, especially when they're fresh. I can be an offensive guy sometimes, but I don't mess with people who are recently dead. It's not right.
Well, and the thing too with this is some people think it's a cynical ploy to sell papers. I don't think so. I think that Andrew probably watched all of it and probably wondered why was Nathan getting all this when the other person who was killed, you know, the other soldier who was run over wasn't getting all of this. I think he wanted to question such a huge public moment, and that's his job. And I respect that he said what he had to say, and that's his right. And I'd rather live in a country that allows freedom of speech than one that tells people they can't talk about it. Now, do I think that he was wrong in his arguments? I do. And do I think that the timing was poor and the Spec has to take some heat for that? I do as well. But Nathan Cirillo by my estimation, was a hero. And I want to put that on the record because I've never sacrificed my life for my country or even volunteered or was willing to don a uniform and potentially have to sacrifice my life. That makes him a hero.
If I can, my son's argument was, if you don't think he died a hero, what he did in death by unifying this city and this country is extremely heroic.
But I think he's a hero in life for being part of the armed forces, for being willing to serve. That makes him a hero before he even got killed, in my mind. And as I said, after his death, anytime I see a reservist or someone in uniform, I'm going to tell them that. And I'll be going to the Armory's Gala this Thursday night to raise money for people who have died in this way. Okay, that's a heavy topic, but one that we really felt passionately we had to discuss here on the O Show. Time to get to our rants. Lauren, you're up.
Sure. So